welcome. My name's Suzanne from Non-Stop Papercrafts. Welcome back to my craft room. So today's video is going to be a build along rather than a tutorial. I'm going to be making a lapbook and I haven't made one before, so I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm pretty much just going to wing this. I have some idea of how I think it should look at the end. Whether it turns out that way, who knows? As we know, when we start crafting, some ideas pan out fine, some of them not so well, and our creations kind of take on a life of their own. So we will see how this turns out, but that's why I'm saying this is not a tutorial. This is me making a lapbook, and then you, if you want to, can build along with me and hopefully learn from those mistakes that I'm undoubtedly going to make. So this lapbook is going to be a detective lapbook, and I'm using this gorgeous kit from Victoria Designs. It is the old school detective kit. I will put the link down below to the Etsy if you wish to purchase. It is a huge kit. I'm sure it's something like 66 pages, and they are just all absolutely beautiful designs. I only have a few of the pages here because I've only just sort of prepared the base and the cover. But as we kind of go through this, you'll see all of the wonderful papers that are in the kit. Now, Francesca from Junk Journal Joy has made a lapbook of her own with this kit and a journal that kind of goes inside. You can get links to those when you purchase the kit. Now, I do have a feeling that the journal she makes for the lapbook is available to everyone, so if you go over to her YouTube channel you might be able to find that, but I know that the lapbook that she makes for it is only available if you purchase the kit. You then get the link. Now, I'm not following Francesca's tutorial for this because as soon as I saw the kit I had my own ideas bubbling away in my own head, so I'm going to, as I say, try and recreate what's going on in my brain and see if I can actually bring it to life using this kit and these old book covers. Right, let's get going. Okay, so these are the book covers that I'm going to be using. Now, I've chosen this dark blue as my large base because here in the UK the police uniform is a dark blue. The police force is also known as the thin blue line, so I thought this would be perfect for a detective file lapbook. I then have this smaller book that actually was the Edwardian Lady. I know it's a green colour, but I just thought it's a nice kind of contrast colour. I like the way it's kind of faded around the edges, and I know it's a different size, but I want that for this particular project, and I actually quite like the paper on the inside, so I'm probably not going to cover that. We will see as we start making. So the first thing I'm going to do then is get the two larger pieces done, so I'm just going to move the smaller ones out the way. Okay, so normally when we are making journals we will have obviously a gap in between our two covers and a hard spine down the middle. I'm not having a hard spine, I want this to be quite flexible, so I'm going to be using a fabric, and this is actually a fabric tape. It's made especially for book binding and repairs, so the adhesive on it is really strong. It's supposed to obviously be really good as well with humidity. It's not supposed to become unsticky over time. It's supposed to be a really good tape. Now, I've used this for a few projects. I haven't had it for a very long time, so I can't say, oh yes, it lasts years and years. I don't know that, but certainly the reviews on Amazon were very good, and for the projects I've used it for, it's been very good. So this is what I'm going to use for my spine. Now, my spine isn't going to be huge, it's only going to be 1 inch. Now, unfortunately on my board I only have centimetres down the bottom, my inches are up the side, which isn't particularly helpful for this particular project, so I'm going to use my centimetres to kind of line it up. But before I do that, I want to just cut my tape and get that ready, because while this is super sticky stuff, I do just want to put some glue along the sides just to give it that extra reinforcement. So I'm just going to move that out of the way for a moment. Let's just remind myself how tall it is. So it's 11¼ So I'm just going to go over slightly actually, so it can wrap all the way around. I'm going to go all the way up to 12, come all the way down, and then just using my craft knife, I'm just going to cut down the bottom, minding my fingers where I can. There we go. Okay, so I'm just going to leave that there for a second, and I'm going to, like I say, use my board to help line this up. So an inch in centimetres is about 2.5 centimetres. So I'm going to use my board to line this up. So I'm going to put it along the bottom. I'm going to stop that at 12 centimetres, and then this one at 14.5. Okay, and then that gives me my inch. And as I said, I'm just going to apply a little bit of glue along the side, just to make sure that it's not going anywhere. But as I say, this is very strong tape, it's extremely sticky. Just going to it's a lovely feel, this tape as well. It's like a canvas, so it's a really nice smooth finish as well. And I think it goes really well again with the blue. So I'm just making sure that's stuck down before I flip it over. Okay, and then I'm just going to add a bit of glue up the top and the same down the bottom. And I'm going to fold this over, but I want to pinch it in the middle. Oops. Perhaps trying not to move the cover though, like I think I've just done. That's better. Okay, and I'm doing the same at the top here. Okay. And then I'm going to put another strip of tape up here, so I'm going to do the same thing. However, this time I am going to go to 11.25. Again, just going to put some glue up the sides. Now this probably isn't going to touch the sides very much, because this is where I'm going to push it down in the middle. So I'm just going to put some glue down the edges of the book. Lay that on top. Okay, and then using my bone folder, I'm just going to go in at the middle and then start spreading to the sides. Okay, then do the same on the other side. Okay, so that's all the middle section in place. Now I don't want to move it too much because I want that to dry with the glue, but what I am going to do is just to obviously make sure that it's not going to go anywhere, I'm going to put another strip of tape here, obviously overlapping this edge here, and another one on this side, flip it over and do the same again. Okay, so that is the main cover, and obviously it's now nice and kind of like loose in the middle, which is great, but I've still got that nice 1-inch spine. I obviously want to let that dry before I start doing anything else to this, but before we obviously leave for this video, I want to get on that smaller book as well. So I'm just going to move this over, and I'm going to do the same process with the smaller book. Now the only difference for this one is obviously I want this spine to be wider than this one because it's got to go around everything. So this one was 2.5 centimeters, so this one I'm going to do slightly bigger. I'll do it 3.5 centimeters, which is about, let's have a look, so 3.5 centimeters is about just shy of 1.5 inches, thereabouts. I also don't want this down the bottom. This layout, this kind of idea with the cloth, I actually got from Tracy Fox, Creative, and she did something very similar to this. She didn't use a tape, she used something else, I'm not entirely sure what it was, but it was a fabric. And she used this kind of method, so that's where I've kind of got this idea from. I will put her link down below so you can go and check it out as well. But with her, she had hers flush down the bottom. I don't want to do that. I want mine a little bit higher, so that's what I'm going to do. So I wanted this one to be 3.5 centimeters, so I'm just going to get my tape ready first. How tall did I say this was? 9.5. Thereabouts. Ooh. so I'm just getting the tape ready for this, and then as I say, I want this to be about 3.5 centimetres difference. Oops. So that's at 16, make sure it's straight. This one then needs to be at 19.5. Okay, so this one's wider. I actually need it the other way around, don't I, after all that? Because this is the flat side on the outside. So let's try that again. So I need that at 16. Flip that over. I want it up a little bit. So if that's 16, I want 19.5. So about there, which is almost probably. Yeah, so there's not going to be very much tape touching at all on either side, but then I'll do the same as what I've done on here and obviously reinforce it with some more tape afterwards. So I'm just going to pop that there for a second, add a little bit of glue, make sure I've got this the right way round. Add some glue just along the edge, because like I say, it's not going to go in very far on this one. Oops. And then obviously I only want glue right. Okay. Okay, now on the other one I flipped it over and did the inside before I did the reinforcement, but because obviously this is only a thin piece on each side, I am going to do the reinforcing now. So it was 9.5. Is it 9.5? I've forgotten again now. Was it 9.5 or 9.25? 9.25, wasn't it? That was lucky, otherwise I would have ended up with a huge piece. Right, so 9.25 coming down. So again, just going to add some glue for some stability. Okay, so now that it's got its reinforcement, I'm going to flip it over and do the same on the inside that I did on the other one. so this piece I've made particularly long, so I want to wrap it all the way around just to give it extra security. So I'm going to go and sit down here. So I'm going to go in on the fold. I'm actually going to stick this side as well before I do anything else, so let's go. Again, just add some glue. That's now holding the main place. We can flip this over, and again just a teeny bit of glue just to make sure it holds. Okay, so that is how it will look. Now obviously I know this is a bit floppy at the moment. Obviously once this bulks up, that will bulk up as well. And then that will sit at the front of these covers, but that's essentially how it's going to go together. Okay, so I have given it a moment to dry. Coming back to it, I think we're going to have it this way round. So originally it was like this, and it was going to flip out this way. Obviously in my not measuring self, I've made this higher than that bit when I kind of actually wanted this lower, but the reason I was going to have this is I'm planning on putting a notepad here, because I thought, as this I said, this is going to be a police detective's note case file, so I was thinking I could have a notepad here and the detective could be writing their notes while they're kind of looking at all of the evidence. Now that's great if you're right-handed. I'm actually a lefty, so to suit me I'm going to pop it the other way around. So I'm going to have it so it flips out this way. I've now not got my notepad, and then I've got this opening up this way. So that's what I think I'm going to do. So I'm going to change it, because then this is sitting lower, and I think it looks better with this front bit lower than it does the other way around. So yeah, I've changed my mind. I think that's how I'm going to have it. Okay, so let's get on with some decoration then. So see, these are some of the papers that I have already printed off, and I have already kind of cut them to size, and I've also done a bit of sewing and inking around the edges just to distress them. So this I was going to put on the front here. So again, I know you can see a lot of black at the moment, but again, once this is kind of stretched because it's full, you're only going to see that kind of edge. So I think that looks quite good there. So that's going to go there. As I say, I do quite like this, so I might leave that. I'm not sure yet. On the main front cover, there was this map of Germany, and then what I have done is these are teeny tiny little red brads or split pins, whatever you might call them, and I've done them in reds, and then I'm going to put, I've got a dark blue string, and I'm going to kind of loop them as they do with crime scenes, and they're trying to sort of map what's going on if there's like a serial killer or something. So that's going to go on the front. I'm going to have my string pieces. I've also got some bits here that were from the kit, just some cutouts. I've got loads of all these different words and things that I have cut out from the kit, but these were ones that I picked out that I thought would be really good on the front cover. So where I've got these little dots, I'm thinking these are going to be kind of like the victims that are on the dots. I know I've only got 4 pictures and 5, but that's fine. And then I've got this, which apart from these two at the back, that is a set together, but it looks like stacked papers. It also had a paper clip, so I thought I might actually put a proper paper clip on there, and then I can put a dangle on there or something to just embellish it a little bit further. But then I quite liked the numbers and things on the back of here, so I was thinking of trying to get these poking out as well. So somehow, I don't know, and then putting that on here just for some more decoration on the front. So yeah, this is what I was thinking so far. So that's going to be stuck down, and then on the back cover I have this one, and I liked this one just because it's nice and collagey. It has got the kind of like blue stain on there, which I thought goes really nice with obviously the blue cover, which I realise I'm now covering up, but you have still got that blue border. So that's going to go on the back. And then I've got just these bits that I've kind of like cut from, which are kind of my scraps, which I'll probably be using in something else within here. Okay, so first things first, I think I'm going to stick the back on because that's nice and easy. There was nothing else I really needed to do with that. These two, I've got some bits I need to add to them before they get stuck on. So let's do the back. And I think the easiest way is just to lay it out flat. So this is going to go on the back, and I just need to kind of feel obviously where it dips in. So there should be just a nice little border all the way around. And as I said, I've already done my sewing, so I've sewn all around the edges because I like the sewn look. If you are building along with me and doing something similar, obviously you don't have to sew if you don't want to. I realise sewing has nothing to do with being a detective, but I just like the look of it. Okay, so I'm happy with that, so I'm just going to stick that down. This was an standard A4 sheet. I have trimmed it down ever so slightly because, as we said, this is quite a big book cover, so I only had to trim down ever so slightly. I don't think off the sides, I think it was just off the top. I may have had to trim it. But yeah, obviously it depends, whatever size cover that you are working with. Also, I have a really good HP printer actually that prints borderless, so mine does actually print the full page with no white border at all. So it's even better because it's even less trimming that I need to do. So I always try and make sure that I get into all of the sewing and the stitching first, and then I kind of put the glue everywhere else. Okay, so flip that over and just line it up. If you're wondering, the glue that I am using is this. It's Collal, I think it's pronounced, but it's the all-purpose glue, so it does everything, can stick absolutely everything together. I absolutely love this because it's quite quick drying. It smells very similar to the Fabri-Tac and the Beacon 3-in-1. It's the same kind of stuff, I believe, so it is a bit smelly. My husband can always tell when I've been gluing and sticking, as he calls it, not crafting, it's gluing and sticking. Yeah, so it is a bit of a smelly glue, so if you are somebody that's quite sensitive to smells, it's probably not for you, but I just think it's an amazing glue. It grabs, it dries clear as well, which is really, really good. It's definitely my favourite glue that I use. Any tools and things that I use, I have an Amazon list in my links down below in the description, so I'll put all of the tools that I use down there, so you can go and take a look if you're wondering about anything that I am using in any of my videos. Okay, so that's stuck down nicely. Let's move on to the other two front panels. So this one as I say, apart from the string and things that's going to get stuck on top, there's not really anything else that needs to be added why I can't stick it down. So I might just stick it down. Just thinking, do I want this to paper clip on the side of the page, or do I want it in a little bit? Let's have a think. Let's quickly just put this together how we want it. So if I did that, and that, that's the wrong way, isn't it? I want to try and make it the same way that they've got it in the picture. Right, so it's that way, that paper clip, all like that. And then so I could have it like that, and I've still got room for a dangle should I want to put one on. And I can still get my strings in. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. So these I might just stick together first. I don't need a lot of glue, just a little blob here and there just to hold it in place. Okay. Then I think I'm going to glue that down. So again, I've already inked around all of the edges. Okay, and then this. Go over here, and we can put the paper clip back on. See, and that lines up nicely with the marking that's there. And now we can glue that down, because as I say, these bits I'm just going to wrap string around, so I don't need to worry about poking anything through. And then these, like I say, I'm just going to and kind of stick underneath, something like that. Okay, yep, awesome. So let's stick that down. This line tickles out great as well, because it means I can really get all the nooks and crannies, I can really get close to the edge, and that makes it all gluey everywhere. Now, although I use these precision tips, I still seem to get glue absolutely everywhere. I've constantly picking it off my fingers afterwards. You'd have thought that these precision glues would make it easier and clean the job, but I still seem to get absolutely covered. I'm not entirely sure how. Okay, so again, just making sure I'm the right way up, giving it all a little bit of a border, and then just pressing down. But as I say, this glue is absolutely fabulous because you only need a little bit, which is why I use the fine tip rather than the huge bottle, because you only need a little bit really, and this just grabs and is really, really good. So I do love it. It was actually recommended to me by a friend, a crafty friend, Jez from Jezza Creates. She's I think a card maker originally, but she does make beautiful, beautiful journals. I actually did a swap with her, but I say I dabble every now and then. I make cards, rather than buying them for people. But I was getting really frustrated with whenever I had like a fiddly die or a fiddly sentiment, so I asked what she recommended as a good glue, and she recommended the Collal all-purpose, so that's why that is now the only glue that I use, because ever since I've bought it, it's just been fantastic. Right, I'm going to let that dry before I start tugging on it and putting strings and things around there. So the next piece is this front part, and that's here. I also want to make a closure, so my closure is going to be very, very simple. I'm going to make like a policy closure, so that's going to go here, and then the string's going to wrap all the way around the journal and then come back around to wrap around it. So I've got 2 pieces of file folder that I've just punched out, and then this is like a leather look piece of paper that's actually from the kit. There's a whole page that looks like leather, so I've just punched a bit out from that. So I'm just going to glue these together, give it an ink and get that in place. So I've got 2 layers of an old file folder, just a scrap from another project, and then the leather look page. So again, just going to give that a second to dry. Okay, now I've lost the pin to my glue. Shout if you see it on my desk, people. The problem is it's a white pin and everything on my desk is white, so I quite often lose it. I need one of those magnet things. Is that it? There it is. Thank you, whoever it was that shouted at me. There it was, I heard you. There it is. Okay, so let's give that a little bit of an ink around the edges. So I only ever really use one ink, and that's Vintage Photo. I have other inks. I even dug out because I thought, oh, blue, I'll use Nautical Blue. Have I used it yet? No. No, I have not. Maybe I'll use that on some of the ephemera. Maybe on some of the tags and things. Again, obviously you don't have to ink, I just like inking. Okay, now to decide where to put this. I might just put it over the... I don't want to cover that up really. Maybe just in between there. So I'm going to eyeball roughly where I think the middle might be. About there. Now I do have a crocodile. It probably would have been easier to use that, but here I am doing it this way. Okay, so I want it about there. Okay, so just making sure I'm going through both pieces, and then this is the same red as the smaller ones, and it's just a bigger one. I'm going to pop into here and pop through there. Well, actually what I'm going to do is, before I pop it through there, I'm going to turn that over. A little bit more stability, I'm going to use some masking tape. So it just helps stop it from tearing. I'm just going to poke that again. Okay. And then that can go in there. Like I said, it's just for stability, the masking tape, it does nothing else. And I'm not making it so tight, so there is still a bit of a gap, because obviously I want to be able to wrap my string under, so I'm not making it too tight. And then all I might do, just to stop it from wiggling around, is just add another piece of masking tape. Okay, and now we are ready to glue this one down. Okay, white thing going here. Reminds me a minute. Found it. Okay, so there we are so far. So we've got this piece here, it flips out. Still debating whether I want to cover that or not, I'm not sure yet. Then this is the main front cover. As I said, I will be adding my blue string and then my little photos. I just don't want to tug on it until it's dry. Nothing on the inside yet, that will be next video. And then on the back we've got that gorgeous page there. So as I say, as we go through, you'll see more and more of the beautiful pages from the kit. The link will be down below if you want to go and take a look at the kit yourself. I will also put the link down to Tracy Fox's video where she does this kind of soft spine, just so you can go and have a look at that as well, see where I got my inspiration from. And then in the next video we will start to have a look at what we're going to do on the inside. I have a few ideas, but like I said, I want it to look like case notes, so that's the bit I've got to kind of think about exactly how that's going to look. Well, thank you very much for joining me today. I hope you found some inspiration here, and if you're building along with me, please let me know down in the comments. I'm excited to see if anybody else is going to give this a go as well. As always, I hope you have a wonderful crafty day, and I will see you in the next video. See you later now. Bye bye.